How can teams balance quick wins with long-term goals in the product backlog? And I remember back in the day as a developer, there was lots of talk about quick wins, particularly at the start of a new piece of work. What can we get off the floor, get going, create momentum? And that's actually an important thing because it creates this pattern, this identity of the team of we're people who get stuff done. It's also very often delivering quite valuable stuff very quickly to stakeholders so that they get behind it, they start understanding what we're doing. How do we balance that? How do we balance those little things that have diminishing returns with the bigger pieces of work, with those longer term, ideal things to deliver, but they may take months? Well, for me, it's already built into Scrum. You've got a product goal. That's going to be your bigger thing. We need to deliver this capability. And the team are going to break the work down and they're going to deliver sprint by sprint pieces of that functionality, customer focused, to ultimately deliver the goal. Inside that process, there is going to be spare capacity. It doesn't work that it mystically every sprint is completely filled with purely goal-orientated work. There's other stuff to do. Well, some of that other stuff is going to be your quick wins. So it's already in there. In your product backlog, you've likely got, we need to do this stuff in this order, roughly. Okay. So that's fine. That's going to be very goal-oriented, I hope. But in there as well, work with the product owner. Get your developers to talk to the product owner. What are the other things that we could do that are valuable, okay, that are low effort? Because a quick win is not big. It's going to be something small that delivers real value to the customer, to the organization. Sometimes, I'll be honest, to the developers. It's just going to scratch an itch that they've got. Well, have a look at them. How do we blend those in together? Some things are going to be goal-orientated, but as you go down, the occasional quick win is going to appear. Great. There are other things that they're not valuable enough. They're not going to get done in the normal course of events. Okay, well, our aim is to deliver the most valuable thing we can for the customer. Some of those quick wins feel like they could be good, but when we sit down and work it out, they're just not worth the effort compared to other things. The role of a Scrum Master here is really to ensure the team can have that conversation, that they understand you can't do everything. Okay? The role of the product owner is to make those hard calls. They are the people who are going to have to say, no, we're not doing that. I know it's a quick win, but when I look at it on balance to everything else, it's not worth doing. The final thing, the one thing that we did actually in the last few teams as I was a developer, and it's something that I talked to many teams over the years about, some have adopted it, some haven't, is what we call a 10-minute task. Okay? That was the bucket of short, simple things that were never going to get prioritized. But we knew that they would be better if they were done. The product would be better if they were done. These were simple bugs or improvements, or they weren't necessarily only 10 minutes long, but when we estimated, we were comfortable that they'd take probably no more than 30 minutes. Right? Really quick stuff that fills time. Because think about it, how often have you finished a major piece of work, right, and there's a bit of time until lunch? There's not enough to get started, to really get stuck into something, but there's some time that could be usefully used. And you probably check your email and whatever else. Well, what we want to do with the developers is say, if you do have that option, here's a list of stuff you could do. As a team, we've already chatted about it. It's in a rough priority order maybe, but just filter the list down and pick up something, okay? Progress that list. The purist would probably say, but it's not. You know what? We're not talking about chunky pieces of work. This is that 15-minute, I just need to clear that bug, that typo, whatever it is. These aren't meant to be big involved pieces of work. They're the stuff that as a team, are short, are sweet, are going to have some but limited value, because if they had enough value, they'd be prioritized properly into the backlog. At the moment, they're just in a bucket of stuff that you would never do, okay? But each thing is worthwhile doing. It's a little bit. It's the picking the penny up off the floor. A penny is not a pound, but a penny is worth something. And if I'm walking along and I need a pound, if I pick up 100 pennies, I've got a pound, or I could find a pound coin. Probably take me a bit longer. Okay? That's what we're doing sometimes. Okay? The way to balance this is focus on what matters. How do we deliver the sprint goal? How do we deliver the product goal? But then fill in the gaps with those quick wins, those 10-minute tasks. And what you will find is it naturally balances itself. If you're focused on the big stuff and the developers know what matters, they can fill in that time with other things that do matter. Right? It doesn't take lots of process, lots of conversations. Devs know how to build great products. It's their job. So if you are trying to balance it, consider the 10-minute tasks. Consider just having a list of stuff that you might not end up delivering, but they are worth doing. And let the devs choose it to fill in their time as makes sense to them.